Coming up on the February 23rd edition of Sports Extra. After a heartbreaking loss to the Blue Devils in Durham, Carolina swatted the Yellow Jackets back to the ATL. How UNC turned things around.
You know what you hear a lot of at basketball games? The pep band. We take a look at how this group of musicians puts pep in Carolina's step.
And this past week was icy for Chapel Hill, but one Carolina club was right at home in the snow. All that and more. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Hey there, it's been a while. We didn't get a chance to meet up last Monday. All the snow and ice kind of shut down Chapel Hill for a few days. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Andrew Stern.
But we're back now. I'm Alana Albrecht. Despite Elsa, Jack Frost, or whatever cartoon character you believed iced over the Southeast, Carolina athletics continued. We had Carolina come out on the wrong side of a Tobacco Road showdown for the ages. The Diamond Heels had their first test of the early season, and fencing got a chance to host the ACC Championships. Wow. But we'll start with the celebration and memorial of a legendary Tar Heel and person. Former players, coaches, students, and fans gathered in the Dean Dome on Sunday to honor the legacy of the iconic Dean Smith. Thousands came to pay their respects to the Hall of Famer. To many, he was so much more than a coach. He was an innovator, an educator, and a civil rights pioneer. What everyone could agree on is that Smith would not have wanted the spotlight, but on this day, he certainly deserved it.
But this gathering was not for Dean. This gathering was for us.
Let's raise our hand and point and thank him for the assist. Thank you.
And as the crowd pointed, the Carolina and college basketball communities thanked Smith for his everlasting influences on not only the game, but also life.
It was an emotional day as the Tar Heels returned home for the first game in the Dean Dome following Coach Smith's death. And what better way to pay tribute to the legend than to open the game in his famed four corners offense. But Marcus Page and JP Tokoto were the story of the game running roughshod over Georgia Tech. Marcus was stroking it from deep. When he wasn't busy draining it from downtown, he was making dudes look silly, like on this spin move bounce pass to Isaiah Hicks for the slam. But that was nothing compared to the high-flying acrobatics from JP Tokoto. Yellow Jackets might have wings, but Tokoto can straight up fly. Marcus got that alley, Tokoto got that oop. Or watch JP go coast to coast, knife through the defense, and elevate. Let's take a look at that one again. Get out the way, big fella. That's McNasty with a side of fries. The Heels dominated the Yellow Jackets, winning by 29 points. Talk about an emotional week for Carolina basketball. The highs of crushing Georgia Tech and honoring a legend, and the lows of an overtime loss to Duke. Basketball analyst Brett Thompson joins us live in studio to break down the on-the-court action. Brett?
That's right, Andrew. Things have been pretty rough for Carolina basketball, and it's hard to dole out individual credit when the team has lost 2 of its past 3. But that being said, Kennedy Meeks has been putting together his case for postseason recognition. Meeks has averaged 17 points per game in his past 3 contests, hitting 71% of his shots. That's efficient. He's also been protecting the ball much better as of late, turning the ball over just once in his past 3 games after averaging more than 1.5 turnovers per game before the Pitt contest. Part of the reason for that is he's not putting the ball on the floor. Instead, he's going straight up and drawing contact. During the slump, a couple of UNC stars suffered from poor play, but Saturday they bounced back strong. Marcus Page played one of his worst games in a Carolina uniform against Duke, but he responded with a 13-point, 10-assist, 0-turnover outing against Georgia Tech. JP Tokoto also struggled during the Carolina slump, but he put together back-to-back great games against the Blue Devils and Yellow Jackets. In his past 2 games, get ready for this, Tokoto scored a combined 27 points, he's grabbed 14 rebounds, and he's dished out 12 assists like this one to Marcus Page for 3. Them's his cookies. And the Tar Heels are facing the final stretch of the season with only 4 games remaining. Carolina is currently 19-8 with a 9-5 conference record, tied with Louisville for the 4th seed in the ACC tournament, which would mean a 2-round bye. That's a big deal. That means they don't play till Thursday. UNC is also looking to stay on the right side of history. If the Heels lose 2 more games, they'll have had 3 consecutive 10-loss seasons. Forget this, the first time in program history. It's never happened at Carolina. They'll look for their 20th win of the season against NC State Tuesday night. And that says something about how Carolina will finish out the season. They play NC State. NC State, no secret, they hate us over here. So they're going to play with a lot of energy for 2 reasons. They've never beat Roy Williams in the Dean Smith Center, and are on the tournament bubble. They beat Louisville 2 weeks ago, but they need to pad that resume. Andrew, back to you.
Brett, it's crazy to think that March is only a week away, but those postseason tournaments sure are going to be fun to watch. Basketball analyst Brett Thompson live in the studio. Thanks, Brett.
The Carolina fight song. If you were at the Georgia Tech game, you probably heard it a few times. Michael Coe has more about the people who play it.
While the athletes are the focus of every Carolina game, there's another group of students that deserve some recognition too. The Tar Heel Athletic Bands, better known as the Pep Bands. From basketball to volleyball to gymnastics, the Pep Band is there, cheering on the Heels. Jeff Fuchs has been in charge of the Pep Bands for 20 years.
There's some entertainment responsibility just to, fill the dead time. I think there's also some engagement responsibilities that we want to get the crowd cheering. We want to engage them in what's going on. Sometimes diffuse their engagement if for a bad call, if we can take that negative energy and spin it into a positive energy. So yeah, it's to enhance the overall experience.
The Pep Bands see no bounds in their musical potential. While songs like Here Comes Carolina are a game day staple, the bands have broadened their musical horizons and now have in their repertoire pop songs like this one. And while the time commitment for being in the band is substantial, there are some memories that are worth it and never get old.
It's like during a football game, probably my freshman year against NC State when Giovanni Bernard returned a punt return for a touchdown and won the game. Probably one of the most exciting things I've been to.
So the next time you go to a Carolina game, be it against Duke in the Smith Center or a gymnastics meet in Carmichael Arena, be sure to look out for the Pep Band, which will help you and the teams get pumped up. In Chapel Hill, I'm Michael Coe, reporting.
The 30-member Pep Bands are dedicated to cheering on UNC athletics.
UNC students might have thrown plenty of snowballs this past weekend, but baseballs, not so much. With snow on the ground and record low temperatures, the Diamond Heels decided to head south for the winter and play their 3-game series against UCLA in Orlando. It wouldn't have been too good to be playing on this stuff at the Bosch. And what a tough life, forced down to Florida. The Heels would lose the first game 8-5 and then win the second game 9-6 to tie the series up at 1 apiece, only to lose in the final game of the series 12-4. Junior Sky Bolt had an RBI in each game, and ace Trent Thornton retired 13 of 14 batters in Carolina's only win of the weekend. The Diamond Heels return to Chapel Hill for their next game Tuesday against St. John's. Carolina athletes have great accomplishments on the court, no doubt, and many are pretty special off the court too.
Coming up, we take a look at a few who continue to rep the Tar Heels. For the women's basketball team, the Heels dominated the Demon Deacons on Thursday night in Carmichael Arena. Teams and fans painted Carmichael pink to honor former NC State coach Kay Yao in the annual Play for Kay game. The 17th-ranked Heels annihilated Wake Forest 83-45. 5 players put up double figures, including junior India Bryant with 12 points. Jessica Washington hit double digits as well, scoring 10. But sophomore Alicia Gray led the team with 16 points in only 15 minutes of playing time. The Tar Heels had a tough road test against the Hurricanes Sunday. Sophomore Alicia Gray came out shooting with the triple from deep early on. She's not doing it just on one end of the court. Here's a steal that ends with the smooth coast-to-coast finish for Carolina. And if you think it's just the stroke from deep, Gray says nope with the tough finish for a three the hard way, no penny. It all came down to free throws for Carolina as Jamie Cherry knocked down the clutch shots to keep the Heels safe and secure the win.
Should university pay student athletes, or is a full scholarship enough compensation? Our Jenny Chu reports on a developing story in this saga.
Tuition and fees, room, board, and books. A full athletic scholarship covers all of those expenses. On January 17th, the Power 5 conferences passed new rules that will add a cost of attendance stipend to athletic scholarships.
Most schools think the range it'll be from $2,000 to $5,000.
UNC will decide the amount of the stipend based upon the cost of attendance. The Rams Club will have the responsibility of raising an estimated $2 million for the stipend. The athlete can use the money any way he or she decides.
I think everybody wanted this cost of attendance.
Assistant Athletics Director Dr. Cricket Lane and Academic Counselor Tony Yount have very different opinions about the issue.
$40,000 a year for a full scholarship for an education at a university of this quality, that's a pretty serious reward, and I'm not sure that adding a stipend to that will be seen as being fair by the rest of the student body.
Scholarship lacrosse player Elizabeth Howes and student Yorian Uver agree that the stipend is justifiable because of how much student athletes put into representing our school.
Based on all the hours I put in here, I have no time to make any income or apply for any type of job here.
I think it might be tough to see some of the athletes getting extra $1,000 in a stipend that someone like me or someone else might not receive on an academic scholarship. But the athletes are spending dozens of hours a week for our school, so I think they, at the end of the day, they do deserve it.
Regardless of where one stands on the issue, it will become a reality July 1st. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jenny Chu, reporting.
It will be interesting to see where things go from here. College athletics could look very different during the next couple of years.
When it comes to UNC athletics, there's no shortage of figures who have made an impact. Our AJ Nwoko is at Fetzer Field with the story of two more amazing Tar Heels. AJ?
That's right, Atlanta. Every year during Black History Month, the University Athletics seeks to honor two individuals who have blazed a trail beyond the world of college sports.
Stuart Scott, Dean Smith. These are just a few figures who have changed the way we look at UNC sports. And now, UNC is celebrating two more individuals through its annual Tar Heel Trailblazers event. But what does it mean to be a trailblazer?
Setting a strong example, showing that it is clear that you can do athletics and do academics at the very highest level and be successful.
And Ballin says this year's recipients, Charles Waddell and Karen Stevenson, are the perfect candidates.
Karen Stevenson, my gosh, what she's accomplished. She was the first woman from UNC and the first African-American woman in the nation to be awarded a Rhodes Scholarship. Need I say more? As well as Charles Waddell. He was our last three-sport athlete, probably our best all-around athlete in Carolina history. You know, he was also a very obvious choice.
Waddell and Stevenson are part of what is now a 2-year tradition at Chapel Hill, but Balin told me that these two individuals won't be the last Tar Heel Trailblazers.
Last year, we recognized Courtney Bumpers. She was class of 2005. She was a gymnast. So she was a pioneer, a trailblazer, so I expect we're going to have many trailblazers for years to come.
And Ballin says this event is not only meaningful for the trailblazers it recognizes, but also for the current student athletes.
I just think this is just wonderful, and it means so much to the trailblazers that they haven't been forgotten and that they are setting great examples for our student athletes today.
And from the sound of this applause, you can be sure that the legacies of Stevenson and Waddell will continue to blaze trails for future Tar Heels.
Stevenson once called Fetzer Field home. But her legacy goes beyond the Carolina blue track behind me. Our Kendra Douglas has that story.
UNC athletes are usually known for, well, playing sports. But one Tar Heel has changed the game by coming in first both on the track and as a scholar.
I don't really think of them as milestones.
Karen Stevenson was the first African-American female to win two of the most prestigious scholarships in education, what's known as the Moorhead Kane Scholarship to UNC, as well as the Rhodes Scholarship to the University of Oxford.
I always just tried to be the best I could be at what I was doing.
And just when it seemed the accomplishments were done for the California attorney, on Saturday, Stevenson, who set 14 school records in track while at UNC, received the Tar Heel Trailblazers Award, along with three-sport athlete Charles Waddell.
It feels like a tremendous honor, and I feel really humbled to be in such great company.
The 2-year-old Tar Heel Trailblazers Award goes to former student athletes who paved the way for others.
We're able to open a way, to light a path for greatness, both academic and athletic, at this university, and to make a statement.
This former 400 and 200 meter runner also stood out on the track.
I was always so proud to put on that Carolina jersey. I loved it. I felt like you stand up a little taller and a little straighter.
So, what keeps this Stanford Law graduate and Tar Heel going?
I think that sense of gratitude and blessing in my life really makes me want to do the best I can and continue to do the best I can for others.
And Stevenson hopes she's inspiring more and more people every day. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kendra Douglas reporting.
And fun fact, the first female African-American Rhodes Scholar says she wasn't interested to come to UNC at first. Her boyfriend at the time put her up to it. Atlanta?
AJ Nwoko, sure to be recognized as a trailblazer himself one day. Live at Fetzer Field, thanks AJ.
The lacrosse team defeated perennial powerhouse Johns Hopkins on Saturday with a nail-biting finish at Navy Field. The fourth-ranked Heels took an early 7-3 lead, but the Blue Jays answered, outscoring UNC 8-6 in the second half. However, it wasn't enough for the 9th-ranked Blue Jays, and the game ended with a final score of 13-11. This was a milestone game for seniors Jimmy Bitter and Joey Sankey. Each scored his 100th career goal, and the two combined for 7 of the 13 goals in the game. Sophomore Luke Goldstein found the back of the net 3 times, and Sankey led with 3 assists. It was the same score for the women against top-ranked Maryland, but the Tar Heels were on the wrong end this time. It was a matchup of the top 2 teams in the country. The number 1 ranked Terrapins toppled the number 2 Tar Heels 13-11. The Heels had a couple of hat tricks with stars Sammy Jo Tracy and Alex Moore showing off their offensive prowess. But it wasn't enough to hold off the Terps, who had a ridiculous 33 shots versus just 16 by the Heels. This was the first loss of the season for the Tar Heels. On guard, touche, and gotcha.
Fencing makes a big-time return to Chapel Hill. We're getting medieval.
The gymnastics team took a trip to Raleigh this weekend to take on NC State, Kent State, and Rutgers. Carolina emerged victorious, tallying a total score of 194.95. Individually, the Heels snagged 3 of the top 4 all-around spots, with Morgan Lane placing first for the 3rd consecutive week. She notched a season-high 39.275 out of a possible 40 points. Haley Watts placed 2nd overall and 1st in the balance beam. And Lexi Capali wasn't far behind, finishing 4th, leading to this energetic celebration. The Heels return to action Saturday against Pittsburgh at 7 p.m.
The UNC wrestling team had a busy weekend, taking on Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, and the Citadel. On Friday, the Heels fell short against the Hokies, but star Ethan Ramos did not disappoint. The reigning ACC Wrestler of the Week defeated his opponent in an exciting fashion, escaping with a 4-2 victory. It was his 12th straight win and gave him plenty of confidence going into the upcoming ACC tournament. Sunday's doubleheader started out poorly as the Heels were slammed by Oklahoma State 23-9. One of the few bright spots was the effort by freshman Chip Ness, who won 9-7 in an overtime barn burner. UNC was able to notch a win against the Citadel, finishing the season at 11-6. Sometimes you can find sisterhood in the least likely places, like on the ground after being tackled. The UNC Women's Rugby Club team tells us it isn't the hard hits that makes them a good team, but the bonds they formed while making them. Rosita Cox has the story.
When you think of love and compassion, this is not what usually comes to mind. But for the Tar Heels, this is exactly how they show love.
I don't think that I would have ever met any of these people if it wasn't for rugby.
UNC's Women's Club Rugby team, one of the best in the South. And what makes this team so strong?
It's this kind of close bond that happens when you're literally like sacrificing your bodies on the field.
That bond has taken the team to the Sweet 16 for the past 5 years, and last year, they beat Harvard in the Elite Eight.
The Carolina women's rugby program has had a really long history in terms of women's programs. It was started in '92, and since then it's been kind of a regional powerhouse for women's rugby.
And coming from the South, that is unusual. Tapper says their success does not come from individual raw talent.
In rugby, your success really depends on your teammates, and I like that.
Teammates who aren't afraid to take a hit for each other if they have to, and they say that is what they love most about the game. In Chapel Hill, I'm Rosita Cox reporting.
The team will be playing its next home match against Virginia Tech on March 1st, and the Heels hope that bond will lead them to another victory.
After a rough start to the season, the softball team tried to bounce back this weekend. Inclement weather caused the cancellation of the previously scheduled Tar Heel Invitational. Instead, the Heels traveled to Georgia Southern to dominate the Eagle Classic 2. Carolina's pitching staff was aces, allowing only 5 runs in 4 games. This effort propelled the Heels to victories against Dayton, Eastern Kentucky, Georgia Southern, and Bradley. The 9-4 Heels returned to action Wednesday night at home against the Elon Phoenix. The UNC fencing team hosted its first home meet in Carmichael Arena in more than 5 years this weekend, and this meet was the ACC Championships. The first time they've been held since 1980. The women's team finished 3rd overall, and senior Jill Latinsky won saber in individuals. The men's team finished 4th behind Duke, Boston College, and Notre Dame. Next up for the Heels is regionals in Durham, and then maybe nationals in Columbus, Ohio. Snow money, snow problems. And this team has plenty of snow.
These Heels were born to shred. We take a look at one of Carolina's coolest club teams.
When a snowstorm hits North Carolina, most students are excited for canceled classes and Netflix marathons.
But for one group of Tar Heels, snow means it's time to shred. Reporter Kelly Glendenning has the story.
Drop it in! Starting a ski and snowboard team in Chapel Hill was a slippery slope. What began as a 2-member competitive team in 2010 has grown to more than 50 members registered with the United States Collegiate Ski Association this season. The team travels to several different mountains, ranging from Bryce Mountain in Virginia to Mount Bachelor in Oregon. Each mountain offers a wide range of competition, including downhill slalom, border cross, and freestyle.
I found out about ski team through a friend. At that time, there were 12 people on it. It was just a really hyped up group that wanted to go out and ski and snowboard.
Competing against schools with mountains in their backyards has been an uphill climb for the team. While the Tar Heels don't have the facilities to practice on the slopes weekly, they still stand out in the USCSA Southeast Conference, with athletes qualifying for both regionals and nationals.
But hey, we're getting better and better. We have the top 2 freestyle men's skiers in the conference. We have we're top 20 snowboarders, so we're doing good, doing things.
While performing well in competition is its primary focus, the team makes sure to take the time to enjoy the camaraderie. Members come from all over, with graduate students and foreign exchange students in the mix. Getting to know each other is half the fun.
I always say it's not about the racing so much, it's about the people you go with. So like, when we get the racing done, some of the best times I've had is riding with the people on the team.
Hey guys! Hey! I'm way sicker than you! No! I'm the best skier on the mountain!
Performing well isn't too shabby either. In Bryce, Virginia, I'm Kelly Glendenning reporting.
Molly Oak joins us now on the set. So the ski and snowboard team got some pretty good members, but coming from that paramount of winter sports excellence of Florida, I guess you're going to show us how it's done.
Yeah, I may have learned over my trip that Floridians and snow don't exactly mix. Check this out. So right here I'm on the lift, already get hit with snow in the eye.
Oh boy, that's a good shot.
So this is my first time on a snowboard right here. I'm feeling strong. This is my angle of it.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
We're tilting. We're tilting.
Oh, there it is.
Lost the GoPro on that one. Then I got stuck, so my friend had to drag me up the mountain in her skis. Again, still on the bunny slopes.
Oh, nailed it, nailed it.
Head over heels.
But after that, I felt I'm good enough to go on the blues now.
You're no Shaun White.
It seems like you're going pretty fast, and bingo.
Tasted a little bark there. Tasted a little bark on that one.
Yeah, maybe not your sport, Molly.
Maybe not.
Well, thanks for watching.
Good night, guys.